Hi Lauren, it's Jeff. Just before I go through the questions that you sent me, I just want to do a bit of a catch-up, if you like, in relation to accruals and prepayments and how they work. So I'm just going through a couple of exercises to hopefully give you a bit of an understanding, particularly of how the reversal happens of the accrual or the prepayment. So I've just drawn a bit of a scenario here where we've got sort of rent, which we say is £12,000 a year. So we've paid £12,000 in rent, as we can see here. And the year end is the 31st of December 2019. So the rent is £3,000 per quarter, as we can see, and again we pay £12,000. We then find that final payment for the rent is payable for the month ending, let's say January of 2020. So what I tend to do is I tend to draw the years. So we've got the 1st of January to the 31st of December. We've paid £12,000 within the year, but we find that some of it, the final quarter, relates to a month ending January of the following year. Okay, so what we do is we go £3,000 divided by 3, which is obviously 1,000. And then we go, so November, December and January. So 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, yeah. So we've paid it here, but some of it relates to outside of our accounting year. In this case, it's £1,000. So this £1,000 would need to come off the 12,000 because it's called a prepayment. We've prepaid that £1,000. So then what we do is we go prepayment in the account for £1,000. We then create another account for, let's just rub that out, sorry. So prepayment. So again, this is 30th of December 2019. So we've got a prepayment of 1,000, and then we debit prepayment, 31st of the 12th, 19. That'll be rent, 1,000. So we finish this off by going, balancing it up. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. So then what we do is we balance it up. So this is the figure that goes in the P&L. Bit of a mad pen, just put it on there. Sorry. So £12,000. £12,000. So the balancing figure is what goes in the P&L. So for 2019, the P&L figure should be £11,000. That's what we've paid in rent. We're still left with this £1,000 prepayment that goes in the statement of financial position as a current asset. So that's where we are for 2019, okay? But then what we do for the start of the next year, so the 1st of January 2020, is we need to close this prepayment, okay, for the start of the next year. So what we do to close that account, let's go to the black. So on the 1st of January, the following year, we go, so rent. So this is the reversal now. We're reversing the prepayment. So we close it now on the 1st of January. So we credit prepayment for £1,000 and then we debit rent. So balance brought forward of £1,000. That's called the reversal. So we've closed that particular account, okay? We'll do the same concept now for this next year. So let's say it's £12,000 again, yeah? So again, so let's say bank, 12,000 is what we've paid. But same scenario as we had before. So again for the next year. So again we find out that final instalment of £3,000 paid in November is towards the end of, takes you to the end of January. So again we've got another prepayment. So we do exactly the same again. So prepayment 1,000, and And then we go up to here, and we go, so this will be the end of the next year, wouldn't it? 31st of the 12th, 20. We'd have rent, and again, that will be 1,000. And then we close off the accounts again. 13. So therefore, it will be 12,000 in that year. Okay? So that's what we're saying when we're talking about the prepayment and the reversal of that prepayment. Okay? I'm just going to show you accruals of how that works now. So if I just get rid of some of this, and we'll apply the same concept so far as the accrual is concerned. So let's get rid of all this. This time it would be an accrual. I'll leave that on the bottom because we'll apply the same issue. Let's take that off. Take that off. And then we've got the same details. So we've got 1,000. Okay. Same situation. So we find out that the rent for 13th up to the 13th of December 2019, we've paid £12,000. Okay. So the figure we've paid is £12,000. But then we find that the final payment, or the final instalment, if you like, that £3,000 per quarter ending January, so November, December, January, but we find at this time it's been paid at the end of the year. Okay. So in other words, when we did it with a prepayment, we paid within the year. So therefore that was a prepayment, that £1,000. But when we, I'll just reverse that, when we pay for it after the year end, it's called an accrual. Yeah, so we pay for it. So in this example, we've got £2,000 that needs to be accrued or added to that 12,000. Yeah. So what we would do in this example, we would create another account. So for the accrual, so again, to reiterate what I said, so that final £3,000 per quarter was paid in January of 2020, okay? But some of that relates to 1920, so for the previous year. So 2,000 of it, so we would go accrual. Oops, I need to add it. Don't open me, let's go back. So the accrual means we need to add it. So I'm going to go accrual, which would be 2,000. And then for the accrual this side, we would go 2,000. So let's say this is all 2019, okay? So therefore in 2019 we'll balance it off, and the P&L, the charge in the P&L that year would be 14,000. So that is 31st of December 2019, okay? For the following year, again, we'll apply the same concept, but what we need to do for this accrual that sat there in the accounts at the end of December, so that will be a current liability in the statement of financial position. So at the start of the next year, we need to close that accrual. So this is where the reversal takes place. So watch, I'll do it in a different colour, so hopefully you can see. So watch. So what we do for the next year, so for the 1st of January 2020, we close that accrual. This is called the reversal now. So the 1st of the 1st, 20, so 2,000, so that's gone. Okay, and then we would credit the rent account. So therefore the balance brought forward on the rent would be 2,000. So in essence what we're doing is the accrual, we added to it the previous year, but we paid for it in this year, didn't we? So we paid for it in this year in 2020. So therefore when we come to 2020, we need to take that into account for the rent and take it off. So again, we'll apply the same situation. So let's say, again, we've got a similar situation where we've paid £12,000 again. But again, we're in the same situation where we find that that final quarter wasn't paid until January. So again, we've got another accrual of 2,000. So we'll have an accrual 2,000. and then we go all over again, 2,000. And that's what we're doing, yeah? So the reversal is when you close it and then you add it to the next account, okay? Without trying to confuse it too much, I'll show you from the income side now. So let's say, for instance, we've got commission received. Okay, so commission received is income. So let's say, as an example, so we've got commission received, and let's say we've also got accrued income. And bearing in mind, we're saying accrued income this time will be on the debit side, because income is on a credit, but this is basically from the previous year. So let's say on the 31st of December, the previous year, we had accrued income of, let's say, £3,000. We're doing the accounts for 2020, yeah? So what we do as far as commission's concerned is let's just say, for instance, the commission for the year was £5,000. So we received commission in year 20 of £5,000. So we would debit the bank, credit commission. So in the year we've received £5,000. Okay. But then what we need to do, we need to close this accrual, because in the previous year we'd done an accrual of £3,000. So again, the reversal would be, so on the 1st of January 2020, credit the accrual for 3,000 and then debit the commission. So therefore debit the commission received on the 1st of the 1st would be 3,000. So therefore the income received in that particular year in the P&L would be 2,000, wasn't it? See? And then for the following year, again, if we've got the same situation, so let's find out that we find, as an example, I'll go back to the same similar situation. So let's say that we find that for this next one, I'll tell you we'll do another one. So let's say within this year here, we find that we've got commission received of £10,000. But we find, so 1st of January, 31st of December, we say £10,000 is the commission received. But again, we'll use the same example. But let's say, let's do 12 because it's easier from a calculation point of view. So if we go 12,000 instead of 10,000, let's take that off. And we'll call it 12,000. So let's say within the year, we've got a commission received of £12,000. Sorry, that would be me. £12,000. Come on. 12,000. So therefore, within the year, we've got commission received of £12,000. But then we find that, say, 3,000 of that is received after the year ends. So we receive 3,000 of this. Or no, let's rephrase that. We find that we're owed £3,000 at the end of that particular year that relates to the current year. That's probably the best way. So we basically get, we find out that the income that we've received, the £12,000, that actually we should have received another 3,000 that's come through. So what we need to do is we need to add it to the commission received. So here we would credit commission received for 3,000. Yeah, and then we would debit the accrual for 3,000. And that's how we'd do it. So therefore it'd be 15,000 would be the figures in that point. I'm not sure whether that's been explained particularly well, but hopefully you get some idea. I'll go through your questions in the next couple of days, hopefully to give you a bit of an understanding of how it all works. And if not, I'll speak to you soon. I did send you those questions that I use, where there's lots of questions for accruals and prepayments, but also some of the answers as well. So hopefully this will give you a bit of an understanding in relation to how it all works. He says, fingers crossed. If not, then I'll have a good chat with you on Sunday. Okay?